Today is April 5th, 2024, and we are protesting the abuse and the torture of this jail, Prince William County Jail in Manassas, Virginia. Today at 10 in the morning, Mustafa was in his cell when three correctional officers entered his cell and they roughed him up. They put him in handcuffs and they threatened his life. Officer Jessica Christie Salas, Sergeant Chelsea L. Darling, Sergeant Clifton S. Leathers. These three officers entered Mustafa's cell today. They put him in handcuffs and they threatened him. Sergeant Clifton S. Leathers threatened Mustafa. He took his items, he took his belongings, and told him that you will never be able to use the phone. You're never going to call your family. And they took his prayer rug and they took his Quran. They stomped on it in his face. Again, today, Mustafa is fasting because of the month of Ramadan. They took his prayer rug and they spilled a disgusting liquid on it, on his prayer rug and on his Quran. How is this acceptable anywhere in the world, let alone in America? It seems like the Prince William County Jail is behind on civil rights. Now, you only read about these things, of this kind of behavior, in history books. But it seems like in 2024, the Prince William County Jail still allows this racial behavior, which is unacceptable in America. Mustafa is not the only one being subjected to this torture. Just recently, Juan Campos was killed at this jail, right here. The Prince William County Adult Detention Center in Manassas, Virginia. Juan Campos was being held as a pre-trial detainee, and he was killed by correctional officers. Inmates have come forward that saw Officer Erick Lindsey outside of this inmate's cell the night before he was reported dead. What doesn't make sense is that a nurse came by Juan Campos' cell the day before. She entered his cell without handcuffing him, without restraining him. Inmates nearby can see the nurse enter Juan Campos' cell. Now, how can this nurse enter an inmate's cell without him being restrained, without him being in handcuffs? Officer Erick Lindsey was standing outside of that cell. Inmates are claiming that Juan Campos was dead the night before he was reported, because other officers are seen entering that cell and tampering with the crime scene the day before. This is not the first death in this facility. Multiple people have been reported dead in this facility in the past 2 years. And they all have the same script, that this person was found unresponsive and no foul play was found. Every time someone dies in this facility, this is the same script that they put out in the media. Now, where is the media? Where is the media? How come Police Chief Newsham hasn't made a press conference? How come Miletus didn't make a press conference? Nobody says anything about a perfectly healthy 18-year-old that just dies at the hands of Prince William County Jail. How is this acceptable? Now, we know for a fact that this jail allows torture, where inmates are stripped naked, sexually assaulted by officers, and left to rot in their cells. They take away their clothing, they take away their food, no running water, no toiletries. and they leave him to rot naked in a cell after being sexually assaulted and brutally beaten. Now we have the names of the officers that are involved in this torture. How can Peter Miletus, allow this to happen at this facility? How can Captain Powell allow this to happen at this facility? Why is George Hurlock allowing this behavior, this torture, to go on under his watch? And why isn't the Prince William County Police not stepping in? Why isn't the Virginia State Police not coming into the cell, investigating? The FBI was notified in September of 2023. The local FBI in Manassas, Virginia, were notified that inmates were being tortured at the hands of correctional officers at this facility in Manassas, Virginia. What did they do about it? What have they done? What has Agent Lindsey Coulter and Agent Samantha Adams and Supervisor of the FBI, Josh Huckle, done about the inmates that are being tortured at this facility? Now, we're still in America, right? Is this still America? Does civil rights exist? Does the Constitution still exist? These people are pretrial detainees awaiting to have their day in court. They're being accused by people like Officer Robert Drum, who are known to falsify police reports. Peter Newsham knows his officers falsify police reports because they sent us a letter. He sent us a letter that his officer falsified Mustafa Al-Jazar's police report. And yet this officer is still on the job. I wonder how many other people he's falsified their police reports and falsified their statements. He's so bold to falsify when the conversation he had with Mustafa is on the body cam. That's how bold he is. He knows he can get away with it. He knows that Amy Ashworth, Sarah Sammy, they're going to let him get away with it. So a body cam doesn't scare him. He knows that his chief of police, his direct supervisor, is going to allow it to happen. He's not going to do anything about it. He's still out there writing fake reports and getting away with it. Torturing this community, subjecting these people to death. How can this be? Now, just yesterday, another inmate, we don't have his name, but we know he's an African American, about 5'8", around 40 years old. Yesterday, April 4th, around 5 p.m., this inmate, was in a wheelchair, naked, blood dripping out of him, with Officer Suka, the nurse staff, wheeled him into cell number 14. He's completely naked, he's handcuffed to the wheelchair, and he is wrote off as suicidal.
19.
Now, they ask him, are you suicidal? And before he gets a chance to answer, he's just shoved into the cell, naked. Naked. In America. A pre-trial detainee, naked. Where is your Constitution? Where is your civil rights? Where is your humanity? This inmate's cell was flooded. He's being abused by Officer Daytwan O'Connor, who brought him in. And this is in Depot, cell number 14. Officers Suda, Officer Foster, Officer Lewis, and Schultz. These officers were laughing at this naked inmate in a wheelchair with blood coming out of him. No medical, no rights, no Constitution. Now, days before, another inmate was stripped naked in cell number 19. The same cell, that Juan Campos died in, was killed in. Another inmate, stripped naked, deprived of food, water, and basic human rights. Now, this inmate had a visit with his lawyer. The officers would come in, they give him a jumpsuit, he goes to see his lawyer, and then when he comes back, they take away the jumpsuit, they take away his undershirt, they take away his clothing, completely naked, back into his cell, back into the dungeon. How is this allowed to happen in this community? How is Prince William County allowing this to happen? Where is Amy Ashworth? Where is Glenn Hill? Sheriff, where are you? Peter Newsham, you're the chief of police. That's a crime being committed. And you know about it. How is this allowed to happen? Now, these officers that I'm going to name are known to torture, strip naked, and sexually assault inmates. Jail Sergeant Golan C. Sharon. Jail Sergeant James H. Foster. Jail Sergeant Jamal M. Somerville. Jail Sergeant Sean J. C. First Sergeant Catherine F. Connie F. Calthrin. Jail Sergeant Chelsea L. Darling. Jail Sergeant Clifton S. Leathers. Jail Officer Julius G. Gibe. Jail Officer Pablo Alvarado. Jail Officer Jacoby P. Fenner. Jail Officer Terrell William Gross. Jail Officer John Paul Abibrish. Jail Officer Erick Hugh Lindsey. Officer Fusini Suka. Officer Sergeant Roosevelt Daniels. Lieutenant David B. Suda. Officer Anthony Noah Tipton. Lieutenant Kelvin Delaney. Lieutenant Karen R. Outland. Lieutenant Brian S. Daly. Lieutenant John B. Logan. Sergeant Alex C. Waliski. First Sergeant Pernell D. Channingfield. First Sergeant Earl L. Gordon. Sergeant Jeffrey K. Nordyke. First Sergeant Saeed A. Nakvi. These officers are torturing inmates in this facility. And we are asking the Department of Justice to hold these officers accountable for their crimes. We're asking Merrick Garland to come in and investigate this jail. We're asking Governor Glenn Youngkin. We're asking Jason Miyares. We're asking Abigail Spanberger to come into Prince William County and investigate this torture chamber. This has to stop. This has to stop. Juan Campos just lost his life because of the officers I just named. And Miletus is allowing it to happen. Glenn Hill is allowing it to happen. Amy Ashworth is allowing this to happen. And Peter Newsham. These people are dying on your watch. We're asking the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, to investigate and close down this facility. This facility has to close. Or this is not America. Today is April 5th.
Time is 8:57 p.m. We're here in the parking lot of Prince William County Adult Detention Center here in Virginia. This jail, on Wednesday, March 27, killed an inmate. This inmate is only 18 years old. His name is Juan Campos. I talked to his dad for an hour. His dad tells me that Juan had a lot of dreams. He had a lot of dreams. He wanted to do things with his life. And when I talked to the dad for a whole time, I can hear the family in the background crying. His dad tells me they killed my son. Now, inmates are coming forward and they're telling us that this inmate is killed on the hands of Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey. Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey. He's directly involved with the killing of inmate Juan Campos. He's only 18 years old. Now the jail is telling the media, and the media is just running with it. They're not verifying anything. They're not checking on anything. They're just taking the jail's word for it. They say that Juan Campos was found unresponsive Thursday, March 28th. Supposedly, Correctional Officer Gulan, Watch Commander Gulan, found this inmate unresponsive Thursday morning, March 28th. Now, inmates are coming forward and they're telling us something else. Inmate Rodney Ward, he says that Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey on Wednesday morning, March 27, went into his cell and came out with a confused, distraught, and scared look on his face. And he sat in front of that cell for a while. And then Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey would bring in a nurse. That nurse would go into that cell by herself without a correctional officer. Now we're talking about D-pods, we're talking about maximum security protocol. You're supposed to have a correctional officer go in with a nurse. You're a maximum security. The only thing that I can assume where a nurse doesn't need a correctional officer is if that inmate was already dead. She didn't fear for her safety that she needed a correctional officer because that inmate was already dead on Wednesday morning. So that's one. You keep recording when the police are here. Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey then brings in 2 correctional officers. And those 2 correctional officers went into that cell, cell 19, and cleaned out that cell. And they took out a lot of stuff out of that cell. Now, they broke policy because you're supposed to take out the inmate in handcuffs. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about maximum security, D-pod, solitary confinement. This is maximum security. Protocol, you're supposed to take an inmate out in handcuffs, shackles, and then go in and clean out that cell. The only reason that I can assume that they didn't take out that inmate out of that cell when they cleaned it out is was that inmate was already dead on Wednesday morning, March 27th. Now, the people in charge of this jail, there's a board, it's a jail board, there are jail board members. Now, when you have a complaint, when you have a problem inside the jail, you're supposed to be able to go and talk to the jail board members. Now, in January, we went to these meetings. They're public meetings. These are public meetings. They're open to the public. They're open to the community. If you have a problem inside the jail, you go into those meetings. They're held every 2 months. They're open to the community. They're public meetings. You go in, you have 3 minutes, you talk, and the jail board members are going to look into the problems that's happening inside the jail. Now we go in on January. We found out that the jail board members is the superintendent, Colonel Peter Melias, Sheriff Glenn Hill, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, Chief of Police Peter Dusha. Now, we're talking about a problem inside the jail. Now, the superintendent, we found out that he doesn't care. He's not even looking into our claim. I mean, keep in mind, we're telling him, correctional officers, your correctional officers are abusing inmates. The sheriff, the correctional officers get their authority from the sheriff. We're telling him, your correctional officers are abusing inmates. The reason I tell you they don't care, because I have a recording. They thought we left that room, but we have a recording inside the room where they're talking about what we're telling them, and they're laughing at what we're telling them. Correctional officers are abusing inmates. Inmates are coming forward. We're telling them that inmates are coming forward, and they're laughing at what we're telling them. Amy Ashworth doesn't care. I mean, the Commonwealth Attorney brags about how many prosecutions she got, and she's getting out of this community. She prosecuted such and such. She prosecuted such and such. That inmate, this inmate, she's bragging about how many inmates she prosecuted. Now let me ask you this, when she's a jail board member, and she's a jail board member, and she gets to dictate if an inmate is being abused or not, or look the other way. She's looking the other way, because guess what? When there's an inmate that she wants to prosecute, all she has to do is look the other way when correctional officers are abusing that inmate, so that inmate either is begging for a plea deal or doesn't make it to the stand. Because they beat him up, they stripped him naked, they denied him medical. By the time she's prosecuting him, by the time it's his day in court, he can't even testify. He can't take the stand because they've abused him so much. So the Commonwealth Attorney is happy that there's abuse inside the jail. We go in January, they don't care. Oh, January 17, 2024. Then we went in February. There was another jail board meeting. We told them the same exact thing. They didn't care. Now, the third jail board meeting was on March 20, 2024. They shut down that jail board meeting. They said it's not open to we can't talk. The community can't talk anymore. They said the community can't talk. We couldn't talk. They're the only one that can talk, and we can just sit there and listen. Now, they didn't want us to talk, because when we went into those jail board meetings, we recorded what we talked about. 500,000 people saw those videos when we uploaded them to social media. The community is finding out what's happening inside the jail. So on March 20, 2024, they shut down that meeting. They didn't want to hear it. And I have a secret recording inside the jail, inside the meeting, after we left those meetings. The Commonwealth Attorney goes up to the sheriff, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth. She tells Sheriff Glenn Hill, who are these people? Now keep in mind, we just told her about inmates coming forward, about abuse inside that jail that she's supposed to oversee. She's a jail board member. The inmates are getting abused on the hands of correctional officers. After the meeting, we were still recording inside that room. They didn't know. But you can get a glimpse on what and how and what they really thought about what we told them about inmates getting abused. They didn't care. The sheriff, the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth, tells the sheriff, Sheriff Glenn Hill, who are these people? The sheriff gets upset. He's like, you know who they are. You know their case. Don't pretend that you don't know. You know their case. And then Superintendent Melias says, I'm just tired of it. I don't care if they're right. I'm just tired of it. That's the superintendent, Colonel Peter Melias. And then the Sheriff Glenn Hill, tells him, that's what they say. And then the Colonel says, Colonel Melias, he said, yes, that's what they say. And then the Sheriff Glenn Hill, says, it's all lies. I'm going to go into part 2. He says, it's all lies. Now, during the jail board meetings,
On.
now in January, during the jail board meeting, we told the jail board members, Amy Ashworth, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, Sheriff Glenn Hill, Colonel Melitas, Superintendent Colonel Melitas, Chief of Police Peter Newsham. The inmates are coming forward and they're talking about inmates being abused. They're talking about they're being abused on the hands of correctional officers. Mustafa Al-Jazari, Jason Castro, Eric Gonzalez, Michael Day, Travis Isaac, Sergio Eduardo Diaz, Emmanuel Bogan, Rodney Ward. These are inmates that are abused on the hands of correctional officers. We told the jail board members, and we gave them the correctional officers' names. Correctional Officer Suda, Molinsky, Tipton, Daniels, Shannonfield, Correctional Officer Foster. Who else?
Fenner.
Who else?
Shannonfield.
Who else? These are correctional officers that go in, abuse inmates, beat them up, strip them naked, and then deny them medical. We told the jail board members this was happening. This was in January, and then we repeated ourselves during the second meeting in February, and then we tried to go in March, but they didn't let us in. Because those meetings, when we uploaded the videos to the internet, 500,000 people saw those videos. The community got to see what they're doing inside the jail. Now, there is 6 inmates that died inside this jail. An inmate just died the other day on the hands of Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey. Inmates are coming forward, and that's what they're telling us. That Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey killed Juan Campos. Robert Reed died inside this jail. Mohammed Ikram Sherdel died inside this jail. Jeremiah Muzan died inside this jail on the hand of correctional officers. Fernando Rodriguez Gallivan died on the hand of correctional officer inside this jail. Darrell Wayne Fox Jr. died on the hand of a correctional officer inside a Prince William County Adult Detention Center. We told the jail board members that this is happening. Inmates are getting abused, but they looked the other way. Now, if they had acted on what we told them back in January, Juan Campos would have still been alive today, because we told them about Erick Lindsey and how he's abusing other inmates. We told them about Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey. Now, there's blood on the hands of Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, because she's a jail board member. She was supposed to act on the information we gave her back in January. There's blood on the hands of Colonel Melitas, the superintendent, because he was supposed to act back in January when we supplied him with voice recording from inmates, giving us timestamps, dates, names of correctional officers.
Being tortured.
Being up. They were getting beaten up, stripped naked, and denied medical.
Denied food and
Left.
water.
Denied food and water. Sheriff Glenn Hill, there's blood on your hands, sir. You're a jail board member. You're supposed to oversee the abuse. We gave you the information back in January. Juan Campos' blood is on your hands. Chief of Police, there's blood on your hands. We gave you the information back in January. And then we gave it to you again in February. And we tried to give it to you in March. There's blood on your hands, sir. These jail board members, they're not sitting there for free. Now, they make, on top of their salary, another $50,000. Each of those members, they make roughly just about $250,000 a year. $200,000 to $250,000 a year. And then on top of that salary, they make another $50,000 when they get elected into becoming jail board members. Now,
Taxpayer.
okay, now this is taxpayers' money. This is my taxpayer money. This is your taxpayer money. And they're neglecting the inmates inside this jail. Now, you're innocent. You're innocent until proven guilty. This jail's job is to hold you until you get to your day in court. But these correctional officers have been in there for 15 years. They've been in there for so long that they're above the law. No one is holding them accountable. They're inflicting their own kind of punishment on inmates. They're depriving inmates from their day in court. You're innocent until proven guilty. But this jail is inflicting capital punishment. I talked to the dad for a whole entire hour. The family is sitting there crying in the background. The dad of Juan Campos. He tells me about Juan Campos and how he wanted to do so many things in life. He's only 18 years old. I remember when I was 18. This jail was to hold Juan Campos until he gets his day in court. What is his crime? What is his crime? Okay, he went in for fentanyl. Okay, right? He went in for fentanyl, right?
No.
What was it?
It was a drug charge.
It was a drug charge. Possession.
Possession.
What possession?
Schedule 2.
You kill what? An 18-year-old kid for possession? You inflict capital punishment for possession?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. You're innocent until proven guilty. That's what the police said. That he's in there for possession.
Was it drum?
Was it investigator drum? Was it the same police officer that falsified my brother's police report? Internal Affairs tells us they falsified the police report. But my brother still sits in jail. And Erick Lindsey, correctional officer Erick Lindsey, abused, beat up, sexually assaulted my brother. Denied my brother medical. We told the jail members that Erick Lindsey did that to my brother. And they looked the other way because of Mustafa. Well, on Wednesday, it was Juan Campos.
The FBI knew about it.
He killed Juan Campos.
FBI.
We told the FBI, we supplied the FBI with all the information.
From September 2023.
Since back in September. We supplied it to you. Special Agent Lindsey Coulter.
Samantha Adams.
And our supervisor.
Josh Huckle.
We supplied it to the FBI.
Why didn't they do their job?
But they looked the other way, and they didn't do their job. And because of it, because they looked the other way, what is it? They have a relationship with this jail? I mean, their field office is like 5 minutes from here. It's 5 minutes from this jail. Samantha Adams, Special Agent Samantha Adams, Special Agent FBI Lindsey Coulter, she's been in that position, in that field office for a good 15 years. Does she have a relationship? Is she a local FBI agent that has a relationship with this jail? Is that why she's not investigating inmate abuse? Is that why she's looking the other way? Is that why she threatened me and my brother when we start supplying her about inmates coming forward? Now, she threatened us. She said, don't supply me with any more information about inmates coming forward. Now keep in mind, I have voice recordings from inmates coming forward telling me dates, time, name of correctional officers. I have recordings of inmates telling me that correctional officers were abusing them. And I was supplied to the FBI.
Being tortured.
Special Agent Lindsey Coulter, she knew that inmates were being tortured, denied medical, beaten up, stripped naked. And then she threatens me and my brother not to supply her with any more evidence about systematic abuse at Prince William County Adult Detention Center. She's got a relationship with this jail. I get it. I understand. Okay? Now today, Mustafa, we get a call from Mustafa. That a group of correctional officers went in, roughed him up, handcuffed him behind his back, took his mattress, took his commissary. Now Mustafa is injured from the beating on May 24th. Mustafa was beaten up by correctional officer. Mustafa was sexually assaulted. Mustafa has no sensation on the bottom of his feet. Mustafa has compounded fracture in his leg. He has compounded fracture in his arm. He has blurred vision because of the beating of May 24. He's having a hard time breathing. And a group of correctional officers go in, rough him up, handcuff him behind his back, take his mattress. Legally, they're not supposed to take his mattress because he's injured. They took his mattress, took his commissary, and threatened him that they were going to kill him. And they told him that your brother is not going to be able to help you. That your lawyer is not going to be able to help you. That you're going to be here forever. That's what they told him.
They took his prayer rug. And
They took his prayer rug.
And his Bible.
They threw his Bible.
His Quran.
They threw his Quran.
And they put dirty water on it.
Okay.
On
And
his-
they took pickle water, and sprayed it all over his documents.
And his prayer rug.
Okay. They went in, roughed him up, and threatened him.
And they
said
stepped on.
they were going to kill you.
They stomped on
Now,
his prayer rug.
I asked Mustafa, why did they go in and threaten you and rough you up? He said, because I came forward about Juan Campos. I came forward about Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey, directly involved in the killing of Juan Campos on Wednesday, March 27th. Now, Mustafa Al-Jazari is coming forward about a killing of inmate Juan Campos. And we're here in the parking lot. Today is April 7th. And we're talking about that we have information that a correctional officer killed an inmate. Now, ask yourself this. Why hasn't the FBI came and talked to us? Now, I'm sitting in the parking lot in front of a jail. Why isn't there a police officer that responds when I tell them my brother is being threatened by a correctional officer? I call Prince William County. They don't respond. Now, I'll tell you why they don't respond. Because the police at Prince William County is directly involved in the cover-up of Juan Campos. Now, on Thursday, they say that the body was found unresponsive on Thursday. Now, let me give you some details from inmates that are coming forward.
You're on part 3.
Now, we're here in the parking lot. It's April 5th. It's 9:21 p.m. I call the police. I tell them that correctional officers are threatening my brother because he's coming forward about the killing of Juan Campos. That correctional officer Erick Lindsey is directly involved and my brother is a witness. I tell them that correctional officer went into his cell, handcuffed him behind his back, roughed him up, took his mattress, took his commissary, and threatened him. They told him that we were going to kill you. This is Correctional Officer Jessica Christy Salas, S-A-L-A-S. Correctional Officer Chelsea Darling. Correctional Officer Clifton Leathers. These correctional officers went into my brother's cell, handcuffed him behind his back, roughed him up, took his shoes, roughed him up, and threatened him. They told him that we're going to kill you. Because he came forward, he witnessed Correctional Officer Erick Lindsey directly involved in the killing of inmate Juan Campos. They took his mattress, they took his commissary, and they threatened to kill him. Now I call Prince William County Police Department, and I tell them my brother's life is in danger. They don't even respond. I'm here in the parking lot. I drove all the way from Stafford, all the way to the parking lot. There's no police. When we reach out to the FBI doesn't respond. We're here in front of the jail. Now, my question is, I've been here for a good 3 hours. Where is the police? I'll tell you why the police is not here. Because the police is directly involved in the cover-up of Juan Campos. And I know this because inmates are telling me. Inmates are telling me about details inside that jail on Thursday that will only make you understand and come to the conclusion that the police is covering up Juan Campos' death.
And they moved those inmates.
On Thursday, any inmate that came forward, we found out that he got transferred to a different pod. Rodney Ward got transferred to a different pod. Mustafa Al-Jazari got threatened that they were going to kill him. Jason Castro, the police cut a deal with Jason Castro so he doesn't talk for a lesser sentence. The police, Prince William County, cut a deal with Jason Castro for a lesser sentence so he doesn't talk and he doesn't tell us what he saw. Now, the phones in the jail, they shut down the phones so they can get the story straight. Inmates were not allowed to call on Thursday. They shut down the phones. They transferred inmates so that way when the police show up or the FBI show up, when they question the other inmates, No one knows anything. All the inmates that actually saw them got transferred. Now, the community is watching, and we're going to be here every single day. We're going to be here. My job is to shut down this jail. And I promise you, Colonel Meliaris, Sheriff Glen Hill, Amy Ashworth, I'm going to shut down this jail. Because I've got inmates that are coming forward. Inmates are coming forward. I'm recording their voice, and I'm taking these voices directly to the field office out of D.C. I'm not going to give it to the Manassas field office. I'm going to give it to the field office out of D.C. And we're demanding that this gets investigated. And it is going to get investigated because we're loud, and we're not going to shut up. We don't get intimidated. And we're going to be here every single day. And the community is finding out what's happening inside the jail. The community demands better. The community gets to see what's happening inside the jail. Now, as we talk, cell what? Cell 14. An inmate came forward about an inmate in D-Pod at cell 14, where this inmate is seen to be wheeled into that cell in a wheelchair.
Cell 19.
Cell 19.
D-Pod.
Cell 19. The same cell that Juan Campos was killed in on Wednesday morning, March 27th. An inmate is wheeled in.
Dripping blood.
Dripping blood out of his legs. And he's in handcuffs.
He's wheeled in by a nurse.
And then by a nurse. And then the mental health is seen to ask him, are you suicidal? He doesn't even get to say answer.
They just shoved him in.
Shoved him in, signed him off, put him in a turtle suit. A turtle suit is one of those suits that he's suicidal. He didn't even get to answer. They just put him in a turtle suit. This is cell 19, and they cover his window. Now, there's a new tactic that they're doing after Juan Campos died. Now they're shutting everybody's window.
They're covering everybody's window.
They're covering everybody's window with a tarp.
So when they kill somebody,
no one gets to see what happened. But we've got eyes inside this jail, and I'm going to tell Sheriff Glen Hill, hold your correctional officers accountable before the Department of Justice, because the new FBI agents that are assigned to this jail are going to hold you accountable. And I promise you, you're going to be held accountable because there's blood on your hands. And I promise you, you're going to go to jail for a long time.
Thank you.